All right. Little recognition here. Okay, so we have a little Success Club update. We got Coach of the Week, Wendy Burr from Raleigh, living in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then we got at Success Club, this is a few days old, but right now at Success Club, we got Chloe Gambrill, Sydney Thompson, Ashley Felddyson, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Emma Carney, Christina Tropiano, Megan Jones, and Bailey Glanzer. And then the top 20 volume producers. So this is how much team volume they produced from their customer orders. So like when you sell something to a customer, there's PV that you get, and then there's also TV that goes to your upline as well. So like Shakeology, when someone orders Shakeology from you, or you order Shakeology yourself, you get 90 PV, personal volume, and then also 90 team volume flows up to your upline to help them create their team bonus that they get every week. And some things like challenge packs are different. Like if you sell a challenge pack, you get a certain amount of PV, personal volume, like 130, but the team volume that flows up from challenge packs is more like 50. So some products, the TV and PV are the same, but sometimes they're a little different. So when I read off these top 20 and you guys see this recognition with the volume next to your names, it might not be exactly what your PV is, because this is the TV that flows up from the orders you guys are getting from your customers. So with 270 volume last week, we have Scott Hickey and Christina Myers. With over 300, we got Christina Tropiano, Emily Hillsdorf, Vandy Frame, Kelsey Moore, Emma Carney, Jennifer Smith, Susie Bell, Cassandra Steelman, and Leah Hall. And I'll just show you guys this, share my screen so you guys can see. And then with over 400, we got Michaela Vardulkis, Bailey Glanzer, Chris Bachlet, Casey Bachlet, Ashley Felddyson. With over 500, we got Kelsey Connor. Over 600, Sydney Thompson and Kelly Marks. And with over 900, we got Kate Schultz. Okay, so that's the top 20 volume from last week. And then, so these are the top coaches that have sponsored the most coaches during the month of October. So with 2 coaches sponsored in the month of October, we got Shannon Strong, Shanika Story, Caitlin Walsh, Jessica Stewart, Jackie Howe, Haley Wappel, Haley Loveridge, Deandra Wilson, Chelsea Rulinson, Bailey Glanzer, Athena Towns, Ashley Pantazulpis. With 3 coaches enrolled, we got Lacey Peasley and Kate Schultz and Caitlin Teft. With 4 coaches, Cassie Schmelzinger. And with 5 coaches sponsored this month, we have Ashley Felddyson. Okay, cool. So that is the recognition for the week. A couple of us are going out to the leadership retreat. So obviously you have the Success Club trip every kind of like, it depends, spring, sometimes winter, like March, April. And then you got in the summer, you got Summit. And then in the fall, you got the leadership retreat, which is for 5-star diamonds and above. And so this year we have Ashley Felddyson going and Kate Schultz and myself, Andrea Wallace, Danielle Ream's going to be there. I think Michelle Cahill's going to be there. So we got a good crew. We got a good crew of Team Boom representing. Amy's can't make it this year, Amy Reelman Eckert, because she just had her little baby, Piper. But we're going to be taking all the notes and coming back on the team call a week from today to share all that great stuff with you, all the new product releases, all the top speakers, all our top takeaways from that. So that's something to look forward to. All right. So I'm going to pull this up real quick for our guest speaker. Okay, so you guys might recognize Kathy She's been on the team call, but it's been a few years, I think. So she's been a coach for over 5 years. She's a mom of 3, a retired school teacher, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to. I know a lot of you guys on the team are teachers. She is a 6-figure earner, and she was able to create a 6-figure income after her first year as a coach. So she built very quickly. And she's a 10-star diamond and also 2-time elite coach and a Success Club 10 legend, which means she hit Success Club 10 for 24 consecutive months. So she helped 5 people, at least 5 people every month with a challenge pack every month for 24 consecutive months. So she's got a really cool topic to kind of, when you're going through some cold spells, which are always going to happen, how to kind of keep the momentum going, how to push through those, because those cold spells always end. It's inevitable if you just kind of keep going and keep showing up. The only way they don't is if you stop. If you lose that momentum, you go back down that escalator. So this is a really great topic. So Kathy, I'm excited to have you on here. I'm going to let you run with this thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I am so excited to be here. And I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to kind of make this be like a regular conversation that I'm having with you guys right here at my kitchen table. I'm going to be totally honest. Like I just said, I honestly never saw myself 5 years in having this kind of discussion about my growth in the business, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm going to kind of go through my growth at the beginning versus kind of what happened to me when I hit a plateau and stopped growing, how I was able to actually get to the root of that problem, like what was really preventing me from continuing to grow, and then how I was able to get that momentum and excitement back again in my business. So this is definitely a call. You're going to want to probably jot down a couple of notes here. And I want to start out with these 2 key phrases here that you're going to want to write down. I'm going to bring them up as I go through this call tonight. They're very important, and they are what helped me kind of have my epiphany. I've been telling everybody now I had this epiphany. It helped me get through it. Is you are the thinker of your thoughts. That is the first one. And the second one is we do what we are. Now, this is pretty funny, guys, because when I first started, the first 2 years of this business, okay, I was chosen to speak on a lot of different leader calls. And my topic was always about how did I build such a fast, out of the gate, hit the ground running business? Like, how was I able to really be able to build this momentum so fast with just, 6-figure business in 11 months? How did that happen? How are you able to build your team to a 10-star diamond team in your first 13 months and get out of debt and all these things? That was like my jam. And it always boiled down to my positive mindset and my growth mindset. And that is what I always spoke on with all these team calls. So I was spending the first 2 years doing these calls because people wanted to know, what the heck is she doing, right? And mindset was always the key of it. Mindset was literally my strength. When I saw other people struggling with that, I never was struggling with that. I was like, that is my jam. Like, my mindset is spot on. People couldn't believe how quickly we were growing. And I always related it back, like I said, to my mindset and my belief in myself and in this business and what I was going to achieve. So because of that, guys, I was literally on freaking fire. I felt unstoppable, like legit unstoppable. I had so much confidence because of all these things happening and the ball of momentum was going. And now remember, right? Your thoughts are what create your beliefs, and then your beliefs are what go on to create your actions. So because of this positive ball of momentum, right, that I had going on, I was taking massive action. I was like, whoa, I can't believe this. Like, I've totally surpassed my teacher salary. I will never have to go back and work for somebody ever again. I could be home with my kids. I was like, hey, I can do this. I have a 4-month-old and a 22-month-old at home at the time. I'm building my business every single night. No excuses. Like, it was unbelievable. Excitement, energy through the roof. My posting, because my energy and my excitement and enthusiasm was there, was spot on. Like, people could feel it in my posting. I wasn't just posting to post. They could feel it when I was talking and having conversations with them behind the scenes, right? Everyone around me could feel this energy. My team could feel it. My team page was blowing up, tons of engagement. It was booming. It was out of control. And people were literally drawn to me and wanted to join me because of this energy that I was exuding and this excitement that I had. And I literally felt and knew that if I could just talk to every single person for 1 minute, that I could get anybody to join me, right? With my workouts, guys, I was all in. I had a story and a journey for people to follow. I had just had my other baby. I had a C-section and a VBAC. I was following the 21-day fix and the 21-day fix extreme religiously with the nutrition plan, drinking my shake. I was showing up every day, and I literally got into the best shape of my life. And all of this was just creating this unbelievable momentum and outcome. And I was more confident than ever before. And that is how much unwavering faith and belief that I had in myself. Now that is how I started. And then the roadblocks, this is where it kind of starts to take a turn. The roadblocks and the hurdles started to happen. Now, you hear about the road, I'm going to be honest, you hear about these roadblocks. You hear about these things happening. You hear about the entrepreneur roller coaster. You know that these things are going to happen. I would literally be preaching this to other people. You have to fail forward. It's a part of growth, yada, yada, yada. You're going to learn from it. But for some reason, I just kind of really didn't think it was going to really hit me. And I didn't think it was going to hit me that hard. And more importantly, I didn't really understand how I was really going to deal internally with these hurdles or obstacles that were happening in life and in business. And this happens to everybody in business, right? I'm not the only one. This happens to everybody. So I had been stuck, guys, at a plateau for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I could not figure out why. I just could not figure out why. I was still going through the motions, right, guys, of the business. So I was still hitting Success Club 10. I was still bringing in active coaches. They weren't really doing anything, right? I was going through the motions. It's not like my business crashed and burned around me and I just stopped doing things. But we all know that going through the motions and the actions is not enough. That you can go through the actions and the motions all day, all night long. You can spend 100 hours a week on a business going through the actions, but if your mindset and your belief in yourself is not there and it's flawed in any way, nothing's going to happen. So I was just stuck. My energy wasn't the way that it was in the beginning. It wasn't even close. Things just were not the same for me. And then I started to have these series of things happen in my life and in my business where now I started to associate myself as a failure. I started to actually think that, you know what, Kathy, maybe you're just not good enough for this. You know, maybe I'm just not really meant to have this long-term success in this business like I thought I was going to have. So I had tons of self-doubt start to creep in. And I was getting my mind, guys, into a really negative headspace. And that was driving me crazy. Because if you know me, you know that I am a very positive and upbeat and optimistic person. Like I'm very glasses half full type person. So that was driving me crazy. Now, here are some of the things that I want you guys, now you're thinking back to the beginning of the call, right? When how that ball of momentum was going, how I was feeling, the thoughts I was having about myself, right? Now, this is how things started to change. This is where the difference started to happen. So first of all, I pretty much at the beginning rode the high of the release of the 21-day fix, okay? Once that ran its course, growth wasn't as fast for me. Again, I was internalizing that, right? And I was blaming myself. Then when we rank advanced to 10-star diamond in my first 13 months or 15 months, whatever it was fast, whatever it was, people started quitting. People started dropping off. People then all of a sudden started quitting coaching. These people who I thought were leaders and going to stick around forever, they started quitting coaching and going to other network marketing companies that were dangling this little carrot in front of them that was going to promise them faster success. Again, I looked at myself and was like, damn, like I must not be that great of a leader. Like, why are these people leaving? Why are these people quitting? Like, why can't they get to the next, level? What can I do to help these people? Again, just putting the blame all on myself. I gradually started withdrawing from being in the team page. So whereas before I was in it every single day, posting motivating things, rooting people on. Again, I didn't withdraw totally from it, but it was just extremely inconsistent. The same thing started happening with team calls. I mean, I went from showing up on team calls on, date nights out with my husband to, I don't think I showed up for a team call for a couple months. Like it was getting out of control. And because of all this, guys, my team was gradually losing the excitement and the energy too. And I was literally thinking in my head, oh my gosh, like the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. Like it all starts from the top. And I was thinking these things in my head. I was in and out of workout programs, guys, so much that I had gained 30 pounds. I was the heaviest that I was in my entire life. I'm talking heavier than before I started coaching over 5 years ago after I had had 2 babies. And it wasn't like I wasn't doing the workouts, guys. But there I was, just press and play in my bedroom or wherever. I was showing people I was doing my workouts, but I didn't have a story or a journey or anything for people to attach themselves to want to follow me. It was just like, well, there's Kathy doing her workout from her bedroom. Like, whoop-de-doo, right? Like, who really cares about that? Like, she's doing a workout from home. That's great. Go her. But I didn't have a story or journey for people to follow. And the whole thing was a downward spiral. Now, in my personal life, so that was all the business, right? In my personal life, I had both my dogs die within a 5-week period. I moved from Massachusetts to Florida, which was a good thing because of this business. We were able to do that. But you know how stressful moving can be, right? Especially when I lived in Massachusetts my whole life. I had been trying for baby number 3 for an entire year, and I had 3 or 4 miscarriages. Finally got pregnant and actually delivered that baby this past August 1st. But when I was pregnant with that baby at 35 weeks, I found out that my dad had leukemia. And that is when we made the decision to kind of temporarily move our family back up to Massachusetts so we could be near him. As a matter of fact, guys, this is how long we plateaued for. When I found out and got the message that my dad had leukemia, I had actually flown a coach to my house. It was a coach who had popped a diamond. We hadn't popped a diamond in 2 years. This was a coach that had popped diamond that I flew to my home in Florida as a reward for her, to mastermind, to spoil her, all of this. And on the way driving her back to the airport was where I got the message about my dad. And literally that changed everything. It was just a total crap show, guys. I mean, let's be honest. The whole thing was a total crap show. And the thing is as all these things now were starting to happen, right, in my business and in my personal life, I was getting really good at pointing my finger at all these different things as to why I had stopped growing, why I had plateaued. Like, oh, well, that coach really isn't motivated. Oh, well, nothing I can do about it. Or I had this happen, or I had that happen. And I just really, really started kind of flashing back to all these things that had happened and wasn't taking any responsibility for it at all. And literally just blaming it on everyone else. And what I didn't realize was that every single moment that I was spending dwelling on the past, it was literally just robbing me from moments in the present where I could actually be doing something to grow and change my situation. I was kind of like living in that way. And then because I felt so bad for myself, right? You can start to get yourself in this way. When I was starting to feel so bad about myself, I started to justifying it to make myself feel better. So I'd start to say things like this, like, well, you know what? Look at how far we came. Look at what this business has done for us. I mean, when I first started 5 years ago, guys, I just wanted to earn a couple $100. I had no idea I was going to be a 6-figure earner. I mean, we were able to get out of debt. We were able to move to our dream home in Florida. I'm home with my kids. I started justifying and saying all these things, justifying why I wasn't growing anymore. But guys, it's no fun when you're not growing, right? When you're just plateaued and there's no growth, it doesn't matter like how much you've grown. If you're not continuing to grow, it's not fun. It's boring. And I wasn't growing. I had completely flatlined. And then this is where the epiphany happened. And I hope this will probably help you guys. I'm going to share with you exactly the epiphany that I had. I was literally walking around. We're up in Massachusetts, and me and my husband and my baby Keegan, we go for a walk pretty much every morning after we drop the kids off to school, because my other two are in kindergarten and second grade. And we were doing a walk around this field, and I was listening to this podcast. And you're going to want to listen to this one, because it doesn't matter where you are in your business. This will literally change your life and your way of thinking. Okay. It was called the Mind Your Business podcast. Okay. It was episode number 114. And the guy's name was Jim Fortin, Fortin. And you can just type that in, like when you go to the Mind Your Business podcast, you can type in Fortin and it'll come up. But the name of it was How to Reprogram Your Subconscious. So how to reprogram your subconscious mind for automatic and lasting high. So how to reprogram your subconscious mind for automatic and lasting high. The Mind Your Business podcast, episode 114, Jim Fortin. We had it on and we listen to personal development every day. This is what we do. It's just a part of who I am, right? And all of a sudden, he said this line, and this is why I had you write it down at the beginning. He said, you are the thinker of your thoughts. And like, all of a sudden, it was the most craziest thing. It was like as if somebody flipped a switch in my brain. I was like, oh my God, Kathy. Damn, you've actually been living your entire life self-sabotaging yourself. And all of these different situations and scenarios from when I was younger all the way up until now, all of a sudden flashed in front of my mind. I had been living my entire life doing this to myself, self-sabotaging myself, putting these lies in my head every time I didn't live up to my expectations. So I'd have success, but then it would really stop me from where I could really go with it, because I'd keep telling myself this like BS story. Guys, I never thought this was going to happen to me. Okay, by the way, like I said at the beginning, some of the stories that came to me in my mind, I was talking to Nick as I was doing the laps. I think we did like 3 miles that day. I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember this time where like, I grew up playing basketball, right? I started when I was in 3rd grade. I played it all through high school. That was my sport. I was awesome at it. So much so that I was on the varsity team when I was a sophomore. They played me every game, all game. I would be the highest point earner every game. I'd be in the newspaper for it. I mean, it was my jam, right? So you can imagine how your confidence is, right? When you're really good at something, right? Just kind of keeps feeding it. And then all of a sudden, a couple other people came along who were a little bit better than me. And I started to compare myself to them. And I started not playing as much as them in my game, right? And so I went from playing most of the game to not all of the game. And the story I started to tell myself there was, see, Kathy, you're not that great at basketball. You're not as good as you thought you were. And I went on, and I'm not a quitter. So I went on and I finished it, the season, and then I quit and never did it again. Okay. The next thing that I was thinking of was, okay, so I got my degree in teaching. Got my master's degree in special education, right? And everybody always said, oh my gosh, like you're such an amazing teacher. I can't believe the way that you can have this classroom control over 25 kindergarten students, like write-ups up the wazoo, like incredible things. And I identified myself as, I'm an amazing teacher, right? Just like I said, I'm an amazing coach when I started this. I'm amazing at basketball. I'm sure you guys can relate to things that you know that you're really good at. And I got all this positive feedback about teaching. And then I had this one teacher observation where the principal came in and observed me, and he sat me down after, and he gave me constructive criticism, right? You'd think harmless, right? Now he said all these amazing things about me and teaching. But what did I focus in on? Right? The criticism. And I heard in my head, I actually told myself, see, you're not really that great of a teacher. I mean, look what this guy's saying about you right now. And then when I saw this now start to happen with my business, I did it again. This was the epiphany that I had. I was like, oh my God, I've been literally doing this to myself the entire time. All those times, guys, where I was taking my mess ups or, not really living up to my expectations or falling short on a goal, I was taking it as me being a failure, me not being good enough, me not having what it takes. Now, I'd never quit, but that was the story I was telling myself, right? Day in and day out. No one ever told me these things, guys. I'm sure that you guys can relate. I'm sure there are times that you tell yourself things that just are not true. No one told me these things. No one ever said, Kathy, you're no good at basketball. I think you should quit. Kathy, you're really not that good of a teacher. Maybe you should have got a degree in something else. Kathy, you're really, coaching, not really doing too well with that. No, as a matter of fact, people always said how awesome I was at those things. Yet I was getting my head into this negative space and I could not get out. I literally was unable to grow or get to this next level in my business that finally I was able to get to until I learned the lessons that I needed to learn. And you'll hear people say that. You need to learn. You can't grow unless you learn what you need to learn to get to the next level. And that is why I was stuck for so long. Now, guys, you don't need to stay stuck for 2.5 years like I did. As a matter of fact, I can almost guarantee you most people don't stay stuck that long. But the lesson was, whatever does or doesn't happen in life to you, you're going to be having these thoughts about those things. Whatever does or doesn't happen, you're going to be having these thoughts that are going to happen all the time. So be very careful with the thoughts that go through your mind, because you are the thinker of your thoughts. You put them there. No one else. And most of the time, guys, they're not even true. It's just a complete made up story. And then those thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs lead into your actions. And when I finally had this epiphany, it was like this light bulb went into my brain. And I instantly was like, Kathy, you can do this. Like, you can absolutely do this. You are doing this. You will do this. You are awesome. You are a great coach. You are limitless. And my energy, guys, I can't even, it was like, I'm mind blown by this, to be completely honest. It was like a complete turn, My team page is blowing up again. I've re-inspired all new coaches in my downline who went kind of MIA. Like, where'd they go? They kind of all popped out again. My income has gone up. People are coming to me now on a consistent daily basis because they can feel my energy. Last month, I hit Success Club 10 in 5 days. I actually hit my highest Success Club points that I hit all year long. It was SC16. I was like, all because of this mindset switch that I had, this epiphany that I had, where I was going before, like barely scraping by hitting SC10, like struggle bus city. Like, where are these 5 people that I can help? My workouts now, guys, like, I have a story for people to follow. I have a journey for people to follow. It's not just Kathy press and play in her living room here in Alpin, Massachusetts. It's Kathy had baby number 3. Her dad had a stem cell transplant. He has to go through a 100-day isolation period, which will be over on November 1st. Because of that, Kathy has committed to 100 days of working out, the brand new 100-day morning meltdown routine. And she is showing up every single day because of her father, because of her kids. And I have a journey now and a story for people to follow me. My views on my stories are up. My traction, my messages back and forth to me, they're up. And guess what? Because of all that now, guys, I'm not bringing in these coaches that really don't want to do anything, that aren't really motivated. I'm bringing in quality, awesome people who are actually coming to me saying that they want to do it. The business actually seems easy now. Whereas before, I felt like I was twisting people's arms to join me. It's unbelievable. So you have to know and really understand that in any business, like really know and understand that there's going to be failures along the way. It's part of the process. It's okay. Allow yourself some grace if you don't get to where you want to be as soon as you want to get there. If you fall short on goals, if you kind of don't meet up to your expectations, you're not going to quit. This is all part of the process. You have to go through them, guys. It is a part of it. You have to go through them and learn in order for you to keep growing. Otherwise, like, you'll be like me and you will have flatlined and plateaued in your business for 2.5 years. I was literally just living every day with a total fixed mindset instead of having more of that growth mindset that I had at the beginning. And literally, it was that one simple thing that snapped me out of this. It was that one simple phrase: you are the thinker of your thoughts. Actions are good, guys, right? Actions are good. You can take those actions all day long, but where is your mindset? So I want you guys to kind of think of that as you go through your day-to-day with business, with life, the things that are happening around you, the way that things are looking. Really give yourself a good gut check of what are your internal thoughts that you're having about yourself in the business, in life, in your relationships, because that is the key to everything. And I guarantee you, if you listen to that podcast and you listen to that episode, you will be blown away. So I hope this call, guys, was helpful for you. If anybody has any questions on it, happy to answer anything.
That was awesome. You guys can throw your questions in the chat here. This is right up my alley. I love this whole talk.
Have you ever heard that podcast? Did you ever listen to that?
I've never heard of that podcast, but I've heard the term and the idea of your thoughts create your beliefs create your energy create your actions create your results. It all starts with thoughts. And a lot of times we are like our biggest critic, not us personally, not who we truly are, but our little like survival brain that's always trying to keep us safe and comparing us to other people and not trying to like look bad. And so when you have these thoughts that show up that are comparing or doubting or saying, hey, this is as good as you can do, or maybe this isn't, you're not supposed to go any farther than this. What's the first thing that you're doing? Because sometimes you get on track and you start to like feel the momentum, but then those thoughts kind of just naturally will pop back in from time to time. What are kind of the things you do once those negative thoughts pop in, the doubts?
So what I actually did was, what I actually did was I actually created on my phone in my notebook here, like I created like a list of like different like I am like statements about myself, because the thing is that this is what I have kind of like a problem with, is that not really got a problem with, but you know how people will be like, oh yeah, like write out your goals and then like chant them in the mirror and be like, I am like a superstar coach and I am. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but I feel like if you don't believe that you have the characteristics of someone who can achieve those things, like if your internal beliefs are not that of someone who can go on to achieve such, greatness, then you can sit there and chant that all day long in the mirror and still be stuck. Kind of like the same thing where if your mindset isn't right in the business, you can still keep going through the actions, but you're really not going to get to where you really want to go, right? Because it's holding you back. So I literally have a list in my phone, like, just take it out. And anytime that happens, like I will just repeat those things to myself over and over again. I say them to myself every single day. I start my day with it. Let me pull it up. I have so many like things on here. It just says I am, right? Where the hell did it go? Oh no, I just archived it. I'm like, come back.
This is a great part of the Miracle Morning. Like the Miracle Morning book has the acronym SAVERS. The S for silence, kind of just getting quiet. And then A is affirmations. So this kind of like ties in perfectly with that.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly like what it is. So I literally stopped and thought, okay, like Kathy, what is it that you really want to like achieve in life, because of this business being the vehicle to get you there? And then now what are the kind of characteristics that you need? Like, who do you really need to become in order to make that happen? Right. Because if you can master that, then you're kind of unstoppable and you can achieve all those things. So I wrote down like, I am confident. I am a leader. I am consistent. I follow through with things and finish them. I am enthusiastic. I am courageous. I am a dreamer. I am solution oriented. I have a growth mindset. I am blessed. I am intentional with my time. And I literally every morning before I get out of bed, I just say that. And like anytime, just any kind of thought starts to come in, like, well, maybe I go, no, it's almost like I'm like, shut up, Kathy.
Was the affirmation part, was that something that he talked about on the podcast about how to kind of try to rewire your subconscious mind?
No, he didn't. This was actually something that I kind of just thought of like on my own, like before I even came across the podcast, because I had been trying to get myself out of this rut for so long. And I would have little blips where I would be like, yeah, but it was really because of where things were starting to turn around, but it would really be because of like my like sheer determination and motivation. Like, okay, let's do this. This is BS, Kathy, come on. Right. And then it never really fixed the root of the problem, which was my thoughts that I had about myself because of the different like failures and hurdles that were happening along the way. So I kind of like sat down and was like, well, Kathy, like, who do you really need to become? What are the kind of characteristics that you need to have as a person? Like, if you want to continue to grow. So I kind of came up with that first.
That's awesome.
But the podcast is, I mean, it is like one of the, I'm not kidding. Like, it is like, you got to listen to it like multiple times. Everybody should listen to it because everybody goes through it in any kind of business. It's amazing.
I think another thing that's helpful is just being like conscious of when those negative thoughts and doubts like show up in your brain and not getting tied to them and kind of just being a witness to them because they're not really our thoughts. Like when you were talking, it reminded me of a story that kind of happened to me when I was probably 14 years old. I was like a freshman in high school and I was like, I was going to run for student council, like president of my class. I was like, this is going to be cool. Like, I want to be able to be a president and like do dances, raise money, and like have a cool school trip. So I wrote my speech. My mom helped me. I got up in front of the whole class, did my speech, like killed it, ended up getting elected. But I remember like afterwards, one of my teachers like came up to me and she was like, that was so amazing. Like you did such a great job. Like I would have been so nervous to talk in front of my peers. And I had never even that thought had never crossed my mind. Why would I be nervous to talk in front of my peers?
Right.
And he inadvertently had like placed her doubt, her fear on me. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, like, should I be afraid to talk in front of my peers? It wasn't something I was born with. It was a fear that had been inadvertently placed on me by somebody else.
Right.
And now like we get to carry around other people's fears. And it wasn't like she was born with that either. Someone had placed that fear on her.
Exactly.
And so now, like when we have these fears and these doubts kind of show up, we go, whoa. This isn't me. This is something I picked up along the way. This is a conditioned fear and doubt. And underneath that is who we truly are. And one of the analogies I love so much is that the sun, who are at our core, who we truly are, is a very confident person that doesn't give a shit what other people think and just wants to be happy and give love to the world.
It's so true.
There's these clouds that are like these layers of fear and doubt and insecurity that we pick up along the way. But no matter how cloudy of a day it is, that sun, who we truly are, is always, always there behind the clouds. And so when these clouds show up, we don't like chase the clouds and go, oh, that's me. That's who I am. It's like, no, that's a cloud that just is here. It's the weather for the day. It's a fear or a doubt that I picked up somewhere along the way, and that's going to pass. And I got to get back to who I truly am, that sun that's always there no matter what.
It's so true. I mean, it was crazy. Like when I heard this, I was like, oh my God, Kathy, I can't believe this. Like, and then I'm like, I kept saying it. Oh, sorry. There's some background noise there. I kept saying over and over again, oh my God, I'm the thinker of my thoughts. Wait a minute. So I put all this stuff here? Like, just remember that, guys, with the thoughts that you're thinking. You're putting them there.
Right. Well, yeah, but sometimes we got to like ask where the hell did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's this stemming from? You just got to break it. Like as soon as you think it though, like, nope, not going there.
And we also will probably think to ourselves, oh, I'm the only one that thinks this. I'm the only one that has these doubts or fears, and then we are afraid to share that with other people. Tony Robbins, like he calls those fears and doubts and all that stuff, he calls that not your mind, he calls it the mind. It's just the human mind that has been passed along from person to person, kind of like that teacher passed along her fear of public speaking,
Yeah.
like that is just the mind. It's the human mind. That's like a radio station that we sometimes accidentally tune into. And when we tune into it, we just got to be conscious, like, whoa, this isn't me. This is just a different radio station.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the mind of all this other like collective crap that people have like spread to each other.
Right. I mean, it was,
you got to learn to change the channel. And sounds like that's something you've gotten really, really good at.
I mean, it took me forever to break through, but I mean, you got to listen to that podcast, that guy. I mean, he's all about the subconscious and your thoughts, and just, he was talking all about how, like, you're thinking obviously all day long, all these thoughts. And he said, you ever really want to see like really what your subconscious thoughts are? Look around you at the life that you're living. And he's like, and I know this can be kind of hard for some people, right? He's like, look at around you, your relationships, your marriage, friendships, where you're living, how you're raising your kids. All of that is all a reflection of like your subconscious beliefs. And I was like, oh my God, this is like amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It stems from your thoughts, and the thoughts that you listen to, because everyone has the thoughts that just kind of come in and they're like, hey, like doesn't make any sense. Like that's just
exactly.
That's not true.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah. One of the things I did, I went through a course that was like to teach children mindfulness, and I took my nephews through it. And one of the cool things we did was we had a name for our higher self, like who we truly are, the sun, like our core, who we were before we picked up any other people's crap and insecurities and stuff. That's our true self, who we are, or our higher self. And I was like, when you feel like that, how does that feel? Like when you don't care what anyone else thinks and you're just, having fun and dancing. And my nephews were like, it feels amazing. And I was like, what would you, if you could give them that person a name, like what would be the word that would like come to mind? And they both were like, freedom, and they were like so amped. And then I was like,
it's so true.
So what is it like? What is it, the lower self, or like the scared one? What does that say sometimes? And they were like, oh, like, I don't, I'm worried what that person might think. I think they might make fun of me. I'm embarrassed. Like, these are little things that we pick up, like when we start to turn, like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, So this is something that as adults, I wish they taught this in school, but we got to learn this on our own, like later on in life, when we've been carrying around some of those conditioned.
Well, I actually, because I agree with you about that with the whole like teaching in school. So before the whole shit hit the fan with my dad getting leukemia, I actually wrote a book, a children's interactive book, to help them develop a growth and positive mindset at an early age. And it's comprised of all these different stories. And,
Awesome.
It's all set and ready to go. I just need to get the illustrator now because I kind of backed out of the other one. But I believe in that.
My Aunt Terry can draw. Get my aunt.
What'd you say?
My Aunt Terry draws.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. Yeah, she draws our T-shirts. She drew our T-shirt for Joe Logan Day this year.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm still looking for an illustrator because I had one locked down, and then I was like, I don't really know about this one. And then everything happened, and life happens.
That sounds awesome.
But if we can start them with them young. It's so important. It's such a missed thing, I feel like, in the schools. And this is coming from someone who taught for 10 years. So, it's a lot of academics down their throat, when I feel like this should be the focus, like at the early ages especially.
Yeah, totally. This is totally what they should be teaching way before, like how to add. And I mean, you got to know how to add, but like you need to know how to be conscious of these like BS negative thoughts that we picked up from other people that are holding us back from who we truly are, Yeah. I think that's so much more important.
It's so true.
Love it. Does anybody have any questions? You guys want to either unmute yourself or you can throw it in the chat. We got like 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes here. One little thing, like when you were talking about how you like built this, your income up, and then you kind of plateaued and you're like, how do I get to the next level? And in this business, the answer, like, the simple answer is develop one more leader. Like, how do I get to the next level in my income or my business? Like, the answer always is just develop one more leader. But the way you do that is by learning how to teach people how to think differently. And it starts with
Right.
first learning that yourself. That's a skill, like learning how to be conscious of the doubt, the fears, learning how to bring up the real, like you do, your affirmations, learning how to use those as your thoughts and plant those as your thoughts. Because the mind, I think, is like a garden, like the weeds are going to grow automatically. We have to actively be planting the seeds and the flowers, and then also be pulling the weeds every day. Otherwise, if we get lazy, then all of a sudden, the garden's overrun with weeds and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think that's definitely been, and I've noticed, like, as coaches have developed into leaders, that's one skill they always have, is they've gotten good at guarding their own mind and creating their own thoughts, and then gotten good at like helping other coaches on their team start to think differently, how to,
Right.
start to plant the affirmations and pull some of the weeds out. So yeah, the answer to building a business is simple, like develop leaders. But the way you do that is by teaching people how to think.
Right. And you got to go through it. It's part of the process,
Yeah.
You can take this information, and now I was able to share this with the leaders on my team. You know what I mean? And hopefully they don't go through as long as a slump as I did.
Yeah.
Most likely not.
Yeah. So true. This is a great call. This is like one of the topics I think that I love hearing the most, because I think it has the biggest impact on everything. Because like you said, everything stems from our thoughts, like our thoughts create, like you said, it's just like a ripple effect all the way up to like take a look around your life, it all goes back and stems back to the thoughts you're letting run your life.
Totally.
And if you're letting like one, and it's tough, but like you said, with the teacher review, you had this great, unbelievable review, but there was one comment, and our little survival brain, like always, sometimes likes to stick to like that 1%, when there's 99% evidence that tells you, that proves to you that yes, you are worthy of this. Yes, you are, meant for more. We always kind of stick to that little 1%, which is
so brutal. And I never saw myself being the type of person that would do this, guys. That's the kicker.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. And you guys are welcome. I hope it helped you out. I hope that podcast episode, can help you guys out too. And, if you haven't gotten to that point yet in your business, it's an amazing podcast anyways. Curious to hear what you guys think of it.
Yeah. Kathy, the thing that you do so well, that I think is already you're seeing the results of, that's allowing you to help your coaches think differently and believe differently and have more energy and more actions, is the way you teach them to first think differently is because you're so good at telling stories. And I think that our human brain, like 80% of people, like, are visual learners. And if you're able to teach someone how to think differently by sharing a personal story, it lands so much more. It's so much stronger for people.
Yeah.
And then they can start to really make those changes and be more conscious of those things.
So that's true.
That's something that you're definitely really great at, is the storytelling. And I'm
thanks.
sure is a big reason, you're starting to see your coach.
It's been one hell of a ride, guys.
Yeah. That's like part of it though, some of these like struggles end up being like our strength. They're what give us our stories, that make it easier to teach. Sometimes you have to go through the struggle to get the story so that you can use it to teach.
I mean, I forget, I think it was in the same podcast, maybe not, but he was like saying how, that this journey is way more fun, that, everybody puts this like, why aren't I here? I expected myself to be here by now. I've been doing this business for 3 years, and why aren't I? Da, 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 da. But when you finally actually do get there, the person never looks back and are like, why did it take so long? That was so stupid. Like, right? They're like, oh, they enjoyed like the journey to actually get there, right? It always happens in like perfect timing.
Yeah.
What did I say? I wrote down this one thing. My husband's like, well, that doesn't do it for me, but I don't know where, Nick, do you know where I heard this line? He was like, everything that is, it was the same podcast. He says, everything that is mine by divine right comes to me in perfect order today. So so every single thing that happens every day, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to worry about this, because you know what? I'll be like, everything that is mine by divine right is happening to me in perfect order today. So boom.
Yeah. Love it. Things are happening for you, not to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love that.
So,
this was awesome. Are you and Nick going to be going out to
Yeah, me, Nick, and Keegan will be there. So we'll see you guys at Leadership. We can't wait. I need this event so bad. I had to miss the past two because I was pregnant or was, going through stuff. So
What's up,
this is
Nick?
little Keegan. I'll hold him up.
Hey, Keegan. What's going on, guys? How old?
He's 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's a big guy. He was
So
born
he's coming.
97.
He'll be coming to Scottsdale too, huh?
Yeah, all three of us.
Awesome.
His
Cool.
first flight. So can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. This was awesome. This was something
anytime,
that I know
guys.
a lot of us, always need to hear over and over again, especially with the personal story behind it. So I appreciate you, sharing that, all the struggles and everything all the way through to the.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get vulnerable, but hey, you got to do it.
So cool. All right. Thanks so much. Hold on. We'll do a little, we do like a boom on three, a little boom, a little 1, 2, 3 boom to kind of thank you for taking the time to chat with us. I'm going to let you guys unmute yourselves. I used to unmute everybody. It backfired a few times. All right, cool. All right, let's give her a big boom on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Boom! Boom! Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys rock. Hope it helped.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you guys.